Hello, hello. Welcome to today's Mindfulness Monday. Hello, you all. My name is Brooke-Sidney. I am the owner of a company called Bella and the Babe that's all about empowering authentic and mindful motherhood. And today I'm getting on, as you may already know, on Mondays I have Mindful Monday, where I do a teaching that really helps us bring mindful living, mindful practices to you in a soulful, spiritual, and practical way. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share this video with my Facebook group that I have. And so I want to make sure that I'm able to do that really quickly before I launch into today's teaching. And this is also, I just wanted to say, if you haven't watched last week's teaching, because I'm in a series right now on mindfulness and emotions, I'd love for you to go back and watch that particular one, not right now, but after this video, so that way that you can really, I feel like, have a greater understanding of the things that I'm going to talk about today, and really be able to, I think, begin to move yourself forward in this space. Okay, so I'm sharing it out. So yes, I do have a group here on Facebook that is called the Mindful Mama Community, where we really dive into these topics. So again, hello, welcome. My name is Brooke-Sidney. I'm the owner of a company called Bella and the Babe, and today we are talking all about mindfulness and emotions. Today is Mindful Monday. It's the day I get on and chat all about things mindfulness as they relates to our mind, body, and soul to help us love ourselves and the lives that we are currently living, like presently in this moment. That is my goal, right? And so today we're doing part 2 of a series I started on mindfulness and emotions. Last week, we really talked about kind of the beginning space, right? Where maybe we are getting into a mindful space, a meditative space. Maybe we've just completed or we're in a meditation. Maybe we're doing a meditation or mindful activity, say, reading, cleaning the dishes, like cleaning the kitchen, brushing our teeth, or even praying, right? And a thought or emotion will come into our space. And so this series is really going to help you understand what you do with the thoughts and emotions that come up and how we can make those experiences, right, of seeing the thoughts and seeing the emotions, because those two are tied together, how we can really bring additional tools and help and lessons and learnings into our life that are already from within, right? We're not calling out here to really learn. We're actually using the things that come up in our own life, in our own heart, in our own spirit to help us on our journey. So last week, we talked about the idea of not attaching to our emotions. And just to give you a brief overview, I dispelled the idea that non-attachment means that we're blocking it out. We're not blocking out our emotions or our thoughts. We are simply not identifying our character or beingness with that. And so if you want to learn more about that aspect, please check out last week's Mindful Monday video, because it goes into depth with that. So today we're moving into the second part. And the second part is really, how do I want to say it? I like to think of it as moving from our head to our heart. So a lot of us think of mindfulness, especially as this intellectual exercise, as this thing that we do in our head, as maybe this logical or analytical experience, or it's all about our mind. And I'm here to share and to teach on a different mindfulness space. Really, it's mind soulfulness. It's the combination of mindfulness and soulfulness, where we're able to use different mindfulness tools to unearth the spirit and soul in our inner wisdom, right? In our inner teachings. And I think ultimately shifting the focus from the head, which we need, and we need to use it. It's completely valuable, but also bringing it down into our heart space. So this week, we're actually turning that focus to our heart space, right? And this week, it's all about using mindfulness or mind soulfulness as a way to understand our emotions. And so what I'd like to say here is that when we have a thought or emotion that comes up during mindful practice, say meditation, prayer, chanting, cleaning the kitchen, brushing your teeth, what do we do with it? So last week we discussed the idea of not being overly attached to it, right? Non-attachment, but most importantly, not identifying with it as part of who we are. But now, after we've gotten past kind of that, I feel like a head exercise. I feel like that step is more or less in our head space, our mental space. For those of you that identify in the yogic realm, like all of our upper energies or upper chakras, all of that good stuff. Now we're bringing it more into the heart space. And I am encouraging us to look at our emotions and our thoughts in a way of seeking to understand them. So bringing them into our heart in such a way that we are seeking to understand the purpose behind why these thoughts and why these emotions are coming up to serve us, help us, guide us, teach us, grow us. And I think that that's a really different space than continuing to keep them in our head. And when we're in mindful spaces or meditative container, we're simply looking at them, blocking them out, which I discussed last week is not the goal, or not attaching to them and not identifying them. But how do we work with them? And so the first, or really second step in all of this is seeking to understand their purpose in our lives. And I think it's so funny. I was on a different call this morning that actually talked about some of the same things, about when we have things that come up in our life, especially when they come up numerous times, right? So if you're experiencing some emotion or some thought that keeps resurfacing, it's really there beckoning us, inviting us in to examine it and to understand it, but not necessarily completely, rather, from an intellectual, but from a heart space, knowing that it's there for our best and highest use for our lives. And so even for myself, I can give you an example. So those of you that have been following me for a while, or perhaps you even know me personally, you know that I went through a divorce, and I don't try to hide it at all. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because that divorce was pivotal in, I think, my own personal growth and transformation. So I shared last week, obviously, when I was meditating and doing mindful activities, thoughts and emotions around that period of time would come up for me. And I would cry, I would be upset. And I didn't try to bury them or block them out, right? That was really the first step. But the second step, which is the one we're on this week, is about seeking to understand. And so when I had those thoughts and emotions come up that caused me to feel any kind of way, although not initially, because I'm human and learning everything, over time, I began to ask it different questions. I began to want to see, why are these things coming up in my life? Why am I feeling a certain way about X? What has the ending of this relationship come into my life to show me? What am I supposed to learn? How is this experience providing me with lessons and messages and teachings? Yeah, we're right on time. Messages, lessons, and teachings to take me to the next lesson. And then because I have a child, what are these messages and lessons both beneficial for me and for my son, and ultimately as a teacher for my community around me, right? And so I am encouraging you this week, right? Whether you're going through a divorce like I am, or even just a period of transition, or even an argument or a disagreement with a loved one or challenges at work, right? Anything that your inner voice is speaking to you on, meaning it's coming up for you. A thought or emotion is coming up for you, and you may have seen it before, you may have felt it before. I'm here to invite you to seek to understand it this week, to really turn your heart towards gaining a better understanding of why it is showing up in your life, because I believe, and I know from personal experience and from the experiences of others that are on a similar journey, especially to grow and develop, is that it's coming up to serve us and to take us to a higher place, for us to elevate beyond, especially if it's a troubling thing, elevate beyond that trouble or beyond that obstacle, and to really be able to turn it into something good, because ultimately that's the space that it's coming from. So this week, right? This week, we're moving past identifying with the emotion. We're not doing that, or the thought that comes up. We're not attaching to it. We know that that message is coming to serve us and that we are not to block it off. And then second, we are now going to, whatever comes up for us this week, we're going to start to turn our heart towards it and seek to understand it. Maybe that's meditating on it, again, further, seeing what answers come into our heart, into our mind, seeing what other feelings in particular that it may be associated with, maybe noticing in your body where that emotion is resonating. But more importantly, just asking the questions and being available and open to getting the answers about why these emotions and why these thoughts are coming up, right? Setting the intention to both hold space for yourself and this process and anything that is coming up, because it's here to serve you, right? And it is through these practices that we become better equipped to handle all that life loves to throw our way, so that we can love our lives presently, which is all that I teach on. So I'm hopeful that this was helpful. I know that it's a message that we all need right now. It's coming up in multiple areas. It's coming up, obviously, in all of the things that are happening in current events. Instead of turning a critical eye, let's turn our heart space as to understanding why these things are happening, right? Not just for ourselves, but for our community at large, our greater family, and so forth. So if you're interested in working on these things deeper, definitely direct message me. I have personalized programs for coaching really that go deeper into these topics, as well as a mindful membership circle. But I'm also looking to make sure that it's a good fit for you. So it's really a good idea to just instant or direct message me here on Facebook. And if you have questions and comments, please drop them below. I would love to discuss and continue this conversation. Next week, we're working on the same thing. We're continuing our conversation on mindfulness and emotions. So I'd love for you to join me. Make sure you tag a friend below that you think could benefit from bringing a little bit more mindfulness or mindfulness to their emotions. More on all of that to come. So have an amazing Monday, have an amazing week, and I will see you next week or in the comments.